me about your original songs. How many original songs do you guys?
Well, the only two that we recorded were, Lost Love, and then the flip side was My Girl. Mm-hmm. Mike Petre wrote both of them.
Well, at that time, I was just busy listening to everybody else. Now, Lost Love came from, I learned what a major seventh chord was playing songs by the Byrds. Okay. And that's where that came from, Wow, this is a neat new chord.
Right.
Yeah.
What about My Girl?
From listening to the Kinks.
The Kinks.
Yeah. Ray Davies was really hot in 66 and 67, sure. And I like that running up guitar. And so, yeah, the Kinks influenced that.
I mean, for me, we just thought we had made it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 16, 17 years old, and you're in a recording studio, even though it's in Concord, Arkansas, it's a recording studio.
That's right.
And,
we never seen so much equipment.
Exactly. My brother-in-law at the time was an insurance salesman who had sold insurance to Wayne Rainey, who owned the recording studio in Concord, Arkansas, where we recorded these two cuts.
Right.
When you record it, you think you're going to be a star.
Right.
We were just kids, and it was a big deal going into a recording studio. And Wayne Rainey was a relatively famous country artist, and Concord, Arkansas is an obscure little town in the middle of nowhere where he had this recording studio. And like I said, we hooked up with them and went up and recorded, and it was, from what I remember of it, it's so long ago, it was a lot of fun.
So we set Danny up in a booth, and we hid the amps behind pianos and chairs and stuff around in the main room, and then they hung one mic, and me and Mike and Phil stood around it. Okay. And we played and did it, I don't know, over and over and over until we got it right.
Right.
And then that was Lost Love. By the time we got that right, we got, they were satisfied with the sound, we were satisfied with the sound, and My Girl was in 2 takes.
Wow.
We went in there, we played several times, and we, as the group, thought, no, this didn't sound right, and the guys kept coming out and saying, oh, that was great, it's a rap. No, we didn't like that one, so we kept repeating it and repeating it.
When the first couple of cuts that we recorded, it was just kind of, just everything was kind of flat and everything, and so he suggested that we do the background vocal through the reverb chamber, which was this great big room, just a great big concrete room with a mic in it that they put the sound through, which caused this, really haunting, I guess,
right,
sound in the background vocal.
Tell us a little bit about that.
They had a room that was an echo chamber, I guess you would call it, and that's what you're hearing in that. And they ran the drums through it and everything else, I think, but they showed it to us, and we kind of liked it, and so we added it to what we were doing.
Oh, yeah, it was kind of strange. There weren't electronic reverbs like that in the 60s. It was a hallway about 2 foot wide, I don't know, 15 or 16 feet long, with a speaker in one end and a microphone in the other. And you adjusted the microphone for how much reverb you wanted. But it worked. I remember we got a kick out of it because we sit inside it while the sound was going on. And to be inside the reverb changer, it was just pretty wild.
Mess with your head. Huh?
Yeah.
Still about more about the reverb chamber and all. How did you guys decide how much it was going to be?
They kind of decided. I
mean, really, they decided. But
they, like I think I told you before, everything just sounded kind of flat. It was just kind of dull, and we knew we sounded better than that live than what we were hearing on the playback.
Right.
And so I don't know if Wayne or maybe Zendel.
Well, Jake Thomas was there too.
Jake Thomas was there too, sure was.
Yeah.
I don't know if they suggested that we use the reverb chamber or what, but once they did that, we were going, okay, yeah, that's it. That's what we want.
And it did. It just dripped.
It did. And we were so enamored with it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they opened the door and there it was, and you're going, wow, that does this.
So, you said the record was pressed in Arkansas. Where was it pressed at?
They're at Concord at Wayne Rainey Studios. We got to go in and see that, and it was just so neat. They'd take this big ball of hot vinyl, and throw it on, press it, and the little blade would come down and it would spin. It'd cut off the excess, and there's your record. Yeah. Well, they would send the master tapes to Nashville, which made the master disc back then, and then they pressed them right there.
Yeah, and they came up with the label name, and they came up with the artwork and everything, and sent it to us and said, "What do you think?" And we said, "That's great."
Great.
And we sold a lot. The record was on sale at Moses Melody Shop. Sold a lot of records.
Jake would take your record and go on the road.
I was going to say, he took it on the road and tried to get it in jukeboxes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his big,
Oh,
you know, because at that time, a lot of revenue for musicians was off the jukebox royalties. So I mean, he had it on every jukebox that he could get it on. I think the boxes were maybe 50 to a box, and I mean, we sold several cycles of those through Moses. I mean, they'd run out and they'd call and want more, and so we'd take them down there.
And we gave them away to disc jockeys and good-looking girls.
Anybody that wanted to buy one, we had one readily available.
Used to go to Moses Melody Shop on Main Street in Little Rock. Moses, that was great. Go in downstairs, and every record you would hope to find was there. I'd go up on the 3rd floor and rummage through the guitars and amps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was great. The keyboards and drums, they had all that up on the 3rd floor then. And then on Saturdays, we would go up there and play on KAAY.
Well, KAAY was really the only rock radio station in town.
Yeah.
It was, KAAY was the rock station, and KOKY and KALO were the rhythm and blues station. Okay. And then everything else was, Frank Sinatra or classical.
Or country,
Or
KDXE.
Yeah, KDXE country.
It was country, and it was all AM.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest thrills I had was when they finally played it on KAAY. You have to go back a few years to remember those call letters, but that was the big AM radio station in Little Rock. And I say AM because FM really wasn't even out yet. I mean, there might have been a few stations, but that was the big station there. And I think the guy's name was Rock Robbins was the DJ at the time, and the evening was the main one that everybody listened to and all that. And that was really a thrill the first time they played it. I don't think Rock Robbins was overly impressed with it. We kind of talked with him about it, and he said, we got kind of this response and that response to it, and this, that, and the other. But, for several weeks there, every now and then we'd be coming home from school or something, and it'd come over the radio, hey, there's our song,